Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving into a deeply powerful message, and the title really says it all. Come to me and find rest, the easy yoke. Look, if you're feeling completely burned out right now, just exhausted, overwhelmed, and kind of trying to carry the weight of the entire world on your shoulders, This Explainer is absolutely designed for you. So let's jump right into the big picture.
Right off the bat, our source material centers on a profound promise from the Bible. Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This is such an incredibly direct invitation, specifically meant for those of us exhausted by finals, heavy decisions, and just crushing expectations. Notice how it doesn't ask you to fix yourself first, right? It literally just acknowledges your weariness.
So, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the end of semester burden, key verses and context, earning versus receiving grace, the meaning of the yoke, steps to finding real rest, and finally, sharing the load.
All right, let's start with Section 1, the end of semester burden.
We really have to acknowledge the very specific type of tiredness that college students face, especially right now. You know the feeling, right? That intense burnout when you're just trying to hold everything together at the end of a heavy season. You've got finals, you're navigating all these goodbyes, and you're stuck in that super uncomfortable limbo where one season is closing, but the next one hasn't quite started yet. It is a total recipe for mental and emotional exhaustion. And the great thing is, the text completely validates this weariness. You aren't crazy for feeling this way.
Moving right along to Section 2, key verses and historical context. Okay, so context is absolutely everything when we look at the Bible. Jesus actually makes this beautiful invitation for rest right after a really intense moment of rejection. He had just spoken out against entire cities that had literally witnessed his miracles, but still proudly rejected him. So he pivots away from them and issues this open invitation. It sets up this sharp, intentional contrast. Judgment is reserved for the proud who think they've got it all figured out, while rest is offered freely to the weary. It really begs the question, what kind of posture are you holding right now?
Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, earning versus receiving grace.
Now let's compare two totally opposing viewpoints our source presents. Over on one side, we've got Theory A, human performance. This is basically the air we breathe every day, right? The idea that you have to earn your standing through grades, intelligence, status, and just constant pressure. But contrast that with Theory B, which is rooted in Reformed Calvinism theology. This theological perspective argues that knowing God is a grace that is received by the humble. It's not some prize you earn by being the elite. In fact, Jesus thanks God the Father that the truth isn't figured out through human intellect, but is revealed to those who come simply, like little children.
And this idea, it completely upends our modern pressure to perform. It tells us that truth is revealed to people who are open and fully aware that they don't have it all figured out. It's so easy to measure yourself by your accomplishments, your leadership roles, your grades, hitting your goals. But understanding God is not about getting the most impressive person in the room. It's all about having a posture of humility. It's about being grounded and grateful rather than proud and totally stressed out.
Let's move into Section 4, the meaning of the yoke.
To really get this, we need to understand the agricultural metaphor being used here. Back then, a yoke was a large wooden frame placed on animals, usually oxen, so they could pull a heavy load together. And this is crucial. A yoke wasn't some torture device meant to crush the animal. Not at all. It was actually a highly practical tool designed to help them carry a massive burden by sharing the weight.
And that is where the metaphor becomes a real game changer. Jesus says his yoke is easy and his burden is light. Now, the text makes a really fantastic point here. This does not mean your responsibilities just magically vanish, or that life is suddenly effortless. You still have a load to pull. But the fundamental difference? The load is now shared with him. You are no longer carrying that crushing weight of religious pressure or academic perfection all by yourself. He is pulling right alongside you.
So how do we actually do this? That's Section 5, steps to finding real rest.
The research outlines a highly practical, step-by-step process for shifting away from exhausting self-reliance. Step 1, you have to stop measuring your spiritual life only by what you've achieved. Step 2, ask God to show you what you're actually relying on instead of Him. Step 3, come to Him with a simple, open heart. Step 4, tell Jesus honestly, literally, exactly what is wearing you out right now. And Step 5, which honestly might be the hardest one for us high achievers, take time to rest in Him without any guilt. By following these steps, you are actively choosing to trade your heavy burden for His easy yoke.
Finally, Section 6, our conclusion, sharing the load.
To summarize the key findings here, the ultimate takeaway is that real rest isn't an escape from reality, it is relief from carrying life entirely alone. I want you to notice that the invitation is simply, come to me. It is never do more, it's not try harder, and it's certainly not fix yourself first. He is steady, he is gentle, and he pulls the weight with you. True rest is found through humility, just bringing everything you haven't finished directly to him.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Think about the burdens you're carrying today. Where have you been pulling the plow completely by yourself? And what would it practically look like for you to let him share that load right now? Because you don't have to carry it all. Take a breath, step into the yoke with him, and find your rest. Thanks so much for joining me, and I really hope this brings some much-needed peace to your day.